Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to everyone joining us for the August 2017 Computer Science Learning Series webinar. And today we are presenting the first ever global IEEE Computer Society Presidential Election Town Hall before voting for the presidency begins on August 7th. We're going to be hearing from two long-term, very devoted volunteers for the Society. Cecilia Metra, who is a professor at the University of Bologna, and Hausi Müller, who is a professor at the University of Victoria. They are our two candidates running for president-elect in 2018, next year, and for president the year following. I'm going to be your moderator. My name is David Allen Greer. I'm a member of the election committee, and I am a former president of the IEEE Computer Society, having served in 2013. Now, before we get going, we've got a little bit of housekeeping to do so you understand how it's going to work. We have a format in which the order of presentations was determined by a coin flip yesterday. It was carefully witnessed. Hausi won the toss, so he will be beginning. Hausi will have an opening statement, and he will be followed by Cecilia. Each of them will have 5 minutes to present their basic ideas. We'll then begin the town hall. Cecilia will have the chance to respond first, and she will be followed by Hausi. Each candidate will have 2 minutes for a response, and then the candidates will have 1 minute to respond to what the other one said. Each candidate will be asked the same question, and we will then alternate who goes first in answering the following question. Now, you all can participate as well. Everyone who has registered will be able to send questions to the town hall and to be able to ask the candidates. We have got a lot of good questions in advance, and we won't be able to get to all of them, but we will get to as many as we can. We want this to be an interactive format, so if you can think of a question, please type it into the chat box you see on the screen, and we'll do our best to include as many of these questions as we possibly can. So we have provided the candidates 2 questions in advance, and they have thought about them and prepared answers and slides for them, and those will be the first 2 questions we see. The next questions were selected by the election committee, and after that we will use questions that we select from you. After our final question, the candidate will give a closing remark, and since we started with Hausi, Cecilia will go first this time. Each candidate will have 3 minutes for their closing remarks. Finally, before we get started, type again any question that you might have into the chat box. If you're having any technical issues, please contact us via chat, and we'll have the staff help you out. The town hall is being recorded, and we will email out the slides and the recording no later than sometime early next week. The slides and recording will be posted on our computer.org website next week as well. So, are we ready to go? Hausi, are you ready to begin?
Yes. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. I also would like to thank you for participating in this first Computer Society Presidential Election Town Hall. That's quite a big event, particularly for the 2 candidates. Also would like to thank the election committee for the trust they put in me in nominating me. I really appreciate that. I especially would like to thank the IEEE Victoria section who arranged a special meeting today at the University of Victoria to listen to this town hall. So next slide please.
All right.
As you might have heard, Computer Society has to tighten its belt because we are spending more than we actually get in every year, and that has occupied the Computer Society for pretty much the last year or so. So balancing Computer Society's financial stability with its mission, that's a really critical task for every president in the foreseeable future, I would think. And on the one hand, we have to broaden the technical activities to get more revenue to a certain extent, and also stimulate the interest in the membership. On the other hand, we have to develop resilience to these declining revenues. For example, the revenues have dramatically declined because of moving everything online instead of print journals, for example. So it's a big challenge. And one big strategy I have is to expand the synergy and collaboration among the CS boards. The CS boards have been set up quite some time ago, 20 years ago if you like. There are always little changes, but they are silos to a certain extent, and having more collaboration among these silos would certainly help. Secondly, we have to increase memberships. Membership is right now at about 56,000 members, reasonably steady, but it would be good to increase membership, and that would increase revenue. And we have to go full out there doing that, from students to early mid-career professionals, practitioners, but also to make maybe Computer Society more age-friendly. I'm always amazed how eager retired engineers are willing to help evaluate student design projects at our university. They are eager to learn new technologies as well. And if we can provide maybe such a service through Computer Society, that would really help. Many computing professionals these days who were pioneers of computing in the 60s and 70s are nearing retirement or already retired. We need to leverage this huge source of knowledge, of expertise. And there are plenty of junior professionals who need mentorship in one form or another. Our host, David Allen Greer, actually has a very famous article in IEEE Spotlight where he expressed his strong appreciation of IEEE, who let him return to the community when his CS department downsized. So engaging older computing professionals, engineers, scientists in CS activities, for example, curating knowledge, we'll explain in a second, it would be really useful. There are some universities who already practice that. There is a age-friendly university partnership, and maybe we could do something like that in Computer Society. I think that would really help both research, innovation, and educational outreach. Finally, working together to build CS's future, promote diversity and inclusiveness. We'll talk more about that. Be the trusted source for computing knowledge. We've always done that, but we have to make sure that this continues. And be the leading society in emerging technologies, and there are so many these days. And when I teach first-year computer science courses, or engineering courses for programming, for example, I always emphasize very strongly how great it is right now to be a scientist and engineer for all these opportunities we actually have. Next slide, please.
All right, and we're at 5 minutes, Hausi.
Okay. That was too long, eh? Well, just to wrap up, we go to the qualifications which are down the road. Innovative leadership is absolutely critical. I know the CS very well. Former presidents I know very well who can give me advice. I'm generally upbeat and positive and very supportive of others. Very useful when you have to motivate volunteers for positions and ad hocs in Computer Society. On my website, there are 50 recommendations from colleagues in academia and industry for this presidential election who document my qualifications. Thank you.
Thank you. We now go to Cecilia Metra for her opening statement.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning. I'm honored to be a candidate for IEEE Computer Society President-elect and to be here with you today. If you can go to the next slide, please. Okay. I am a full professor at the University of Bologna in Italy. I I've been elevated to the grade of IEEE Fellow for contributions to the online testing and fault-tolerant design of digital circuits and systems. I am an IEEE Computer Society Golden Code member, a member of the IEEE Honor Society Eta Kappa Nu, and I received 2 Meritorious Service Awards and 5 certificates of appreciation from the IEEE Computer Society. I am a technical contributor as author to research articles in highly peer-reviewed journals and conferences. I perform technology transfer to several industries, and I'm an active researcher in the field of test, design for test and reliability, and fault-tolerant computing. My research has been funded by several companies and institutions, including Intel Corporation, ST Microelectronics, Alstom Transport, the European Commission, the Italian Space Agency, the Italian Ministry for Education, University and Research, the Italian Ministry for Economic Development, and others. Next slide, please. I hold leadership positions in IEEE Computer Society membership and geographic activities. I am the Vice President of the Computer Society Member and Geographic Activities Board this year. But I also hold editorial leadership positions in publications. I am the incoming Editor-in-Chief of the IEEE Transactions on Emerging Topics in Computing, and I was the Editor-in-Chief of Computing Now and the Associate Editor-in-Chief of the IEEE Transaction on Computers. I held leadership positions also in Computer Society conferences and technical activities. I was Vice President of the Computer Society Conferences and Technical Activities Board, the first Vice Chair of the Test Technology Technical Council, and General and Program Chair as well as Topic and Track Chair of several international conferences. I have a wide experience in IEEE Computer Society governance. In fact, I am an elected member of the Computer Society Board of Governors since 5 years now. I have experience also in governance and activities at the IEEE level. I am a member of the Board of Governors of the IEEE Council on Electronic Design Automation since 3 years now, and I'm a member of the Advisory Board of the IEEE The Institute. Next slide, please. My extensive service in diverse boards contributed to form my member-centric and quality-oriented vision of our computer society. We, the members, are the computer society, wherever geographically located, whichever spoken language, beyond gender and nationality. I believe that inclusiveness is the key to our success. The society must focus on the needs, opinions, interests, and expectations of each and every member. The society must provide service to satisfy members and to enable the technical growth and professional advancement of all. Acknowledgement and rewarding of volunteer service should be further enhanced because the volunteers are the lifeblood of our society. If elected, I can guarantee to you that I will put all my energy and strength to make all of this come true. Next slide, please. If elected, I will also reinforce the growth of the Computer Society as a community of the highest technical quality in all activities: publications, conferences, standards, educational products and service, and geographical activities. I will enhance the collaboration with other IEEE societies and councils to share advanced technical projects of common interest. And in conferences, I will enable the adoption of innovative meeting features to sustain members whose in-person attendance is not possible. I will establish specific contexts devoted to younger generations, for instance, focused on professional development and work opportunities. I will improve the conference financial sponsorship model to meet the diverse needs of conference organizers. In publications, I will boost the adoption of innovative communication media that I experienced so much during my term as Editor-in-Chief of Computing Now. And in geographic activities, I will enhance programs to acknowledge and reward volunteer service, and I will reinforce current award and grant programs for young professionals and students. Next slide, please. In a few words, if elected, my primary focus will be to better serve the members and to move to higher pinnacles the technical distinction of our society in all activities and across the world. Because your success is my success, and I'm sure that together we will succeed. Thank you for your precious time.
Thank you both for your statement. We are now going to go to the question period. And the first question is one that was received prior to the start of this meeting. And it is, what is the best way to build the membership? Particularly, what should the society do to make it more attractive to early and mid-career professionals? And since Hausi began with his opening statement, Cecilia will begin as the first one to answer the question.
Thank you, David. As I underlined in my opening speech, I believe that the Computer Society should primarily focus on members' needs, opinions, interests, and expectations. Particularly, the Society should provide service that satisfy members' needs, and financial investment should be done primarily for those products and services that satisfy members' needs. Also, the Society should establish an evaluation process for Computer Society activities and services, because I believe that communication and collaboration between who provides the service and who exploits them is essential for improvement. The Society should anticipate and meet the technical interests of members and should capitalize on a broad set of technical fields. This can be achieved by keeping and attracting highly qualified members from both academia and industry in our boards and committees who could provide a long-term and expert technical vision. Also, we should foster the growth of the Computer Society as a technical community of the highest quality, through which the professional growth of each and every member can be achieved. The Society should also improve the acknowledgement of volunteer service, that I believe are the lifeblood of our society. The Society should reinforce the current award and grant programs for young professionals and should promote an experimental environment of lifelong learning, for instance, including summer schools and an increased number of e-learning courses available to the members. If elected, this is part of what I will do to build membership and to be more attractive to early and mid-career professionals, as per your question. Thank you.
Thank you. And now, Hausi, would you like to give your response?
Yes. So to really make progress in membership and increasing membership upwards from 56,000 significantly, we have to expand Computer Society's international reach and presence. We make great progress, for example, in the Hong Kong area in Asia over the last couple of years, but there is plenty more opportunity internationally in lots of different countries to do that and making our presence felt and talking to people. Increasing industrial participation in Computer Society's conferences. We have over 250 conferences. There's a lot more opportunity there to attract industrial participation, and as VP of conferences for the past 2 years, we worked very hard on that. And but this is a long-term endeavor, but I think we are making progress. To expand CS's social media presence is also critical. We are always lagging a little behind in that. But maybe the most important one is to actually diversify member engagement to increase member satisfaction. When I talk to our technical committees and special technical communities, one thing we hear all the time is that they want to contribute more. And one idea for doing that is to contribute curated knowledge. With these silos I was talking about earlier, we have pubs and conferences and education and training and standards all in different silos. If we could package things together, for example, on cybersecurity, you have,
we're at 2 minutes.
From end user point of view, you want to project that and so that an end user can get all the information that we have on cybersecurity, for example. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, in this part of the question, the respondents, both Cecilia and Hausi, will get a chance to respond for 1 minute. So, Cecilia, you'd be the one starting.
Okay, thank you. So to respond to Hausi, for instance, which country, which continent you think we should focus more to improve membership? As you mentioned, we did a lot in Asia this year. Which other you think we should focus more next?
Well, for example, in the number of conferences in China has increased dramatically over the last 5 years, I would think. So that's a good thing, and that doesn't mean necessarily that all the people who attend these conferences are IEEE Computer Society members. We can do a lot more with conferences to recruit members, and that will be very important. So in Asia in general, but also in India, we started with several of the preceding presidents in India, but it's certainly challenging to pay for Computer Society membership in India for a lot of people, but we have to work a solution there.
Okay, thank you, Hausi. Since we sort of flipped into a slightly different format, and Cecilia asked a question of you about this issue, perhaps the proper way would be for you to ask a question of her.
Yeah, so one of the big problems I have, so first of all, Cecilia and I think we work well together across these silos we have, but how can we integrate these silos we have of the Computer Society boards better?
Cecilia, do you have a response?
Yes. So I think that, as I mentioned, we need to really focus on the members and members' needs. And I think that as a Board of Governors, we are all representative of the members, so we need to respond to the members' needs and focus really on this. And so I'm sure that as Board of Governors, we all share this idea that we are representative of the members, and so based on the request of the members' needs, opinions, and interest, we could react and respond.
All right. Thank you both for your answers. Let us move on to the second question that was identified by the election committee. And of course, this is a rather crucial question. During your term as president, during the 2018 term, how will you approach the issue of financial sustainability? And we're alternating presentations, so Hausi will begin.
Yeah, so absolutely, this is a critical problem for the Computer Society, and we need to achieve financial stability. And one of the key solutions, I think, is to expand the synergy and collaboration among the CS board. There is overlap among the boards, but also by working together, we can achieve a lot more, particularly, for example, between conferences and membership. Broadening the technical abilities, activities is key to get young professionals interested in Computer Society, and convincing them to actually sign up is critical to having resilience with respect to our revenue. Tracking characteristic measures is absolutely critical that are cost effective, but also provide insight through longitudinal analysis in our portfolio, and the Computer Society portfolio is absolutely huge. Another very critical point is to groom innovative leadership for our society, and I'm passionate about that. Increasing membership at all levels, and maybe finally expand the portfolio of high-quality conferences. Conferences are these days the most reliable revenue sources in the short term when a conference actually completes, but also in the long term for IP, for downloads, where we get revenue from computers, IEEE Explorer, for example, or CSDL. and then expand practitioner-oriented conference portfolio. I think that's where we could generate significant revenue. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now we go to our next candidate, Cecilia. What is your response to this question?
Thank you. I believe that fiscal sustainability requires an inclusive approach to financial planning, operational coordination, and efficient execution by the Computer Society. As previously underlined in my opening speech, if elected as president, my primary focus will be on the needs, opinions, interests, and expectations of each and every member. And it will be with this primary focus that I will also address the financial sustainability issues that the Society may present. I will concentrate resources and expenses on what clearly expressed as a need or interest by members. I will avoid financial investment in products that are not of clear interest to the members, and I would rather reinforce the service that the Society offers to volunteers in support of their volunteer work. As also underlined in my opening speech, I will also boost the collaboration with other IEEE societies and councils to share the cost to pursue advanced technical projects of common interest to our members. I will also enhance resources in support of volunteers because, as already claimed, I believe that volunteers are the lifeblood of our society. Member satisfaction and an increased number of volunteers glad to help as achieved through a presidency focus on members, together with enhanced quality service to volunteers and all members, will be the key also to fiscal sustainability. If elected as president, I will put all my strength and efforts to guarantee that member satisfaction, expanded volunteer base, and high-quality service are promoted at all levels of the Computer Society.
Thank you very much. Now, in the spirit of what we just started as our format, Hausi, do you have a question on this issue that you would like to ask Cecilia?
Yeah, so I agree with Cecilia that we need to increase collaboration with other IEEE societies. And there's a lot of opportunity there, but with respect to financial stability, there's also some problems there, because we have a lot of joint publication, inter-society publications, and they typically do not generate the revenue. How do you feel about that?
Cecilia?
Yes. So I think, frankly, that when I mean collaboration with other society councils, I'm frankly convinced that we could share the cost of advanced technical projects together that are of interest to our members. If unfortunately some publications may come out to be successful, probably they're not the right response to the needs of our members. But I'm confident that there are successful ways to satisfy our members and initiate new activities that will be welcome if we start from the members' need, and that could be jointly managed in collaboration, let's say, with other societies and councils. So again, I think we need to start from the needs of the members and to work starting from that.
Thank you very much. Now, do you have a question for Hausi?
Yes. I was thinking maybe when you were mentioning about, this is something that I agree also, that we need to reinforce our presence in social media. If you have any idea how we can do this, and if you have a preferred channel.
Hausi?
Well, this is, of course, a very difficult question. And as an example, IEEE Communications Society is probably the most aggressive society with respect to publicizing their needs and their ambitions. And we could learn quite a bit from them. So preferred channels, I really like Computing Edge, for example, and IEEE Spotlight, where David Allen Greer, for example, publishes very opinion articles, which are always very interesting to start with. But then in channels like LinkedIn, you can then feature such articles like this opinion piece I talked earlier from David Allen Greer, and so on, but also really push for membership and articulating the benefits of memberships on these social media channels where way more people than just the members are there.
Okay. Thank you very much for your response. We now turn to our audience, and so you may want paper and pencil to write this question because we don't have a slide on it. This question comes from John Rosdahl, who is part of our audience right now. He asks, how can the Computer Society better integrate education, conferences, publications, and standards on technology topics? So since Hausi answered the last one, I believe, Cecilia will be the one to start on this question. And let me read it one more time. How can the Computer Society better integrate education, conferences, publications, and standards on technology topics? Cecilia?
Thank you. This is a very interesting question. Again, I think that starting from the interest of our members, we can try to collaborate, and we already usually try to do that within the various boards that we have, education, conference, publication, and standard, to provide a more integrated, let's say, more integrated content, I assume, that satisfy the needs of our members. When I was editor-in-chief of Computing Now, for instance, we tried to, and it's still existing, we started a column on education, one on conference, publication, and standard. So I think that was an example of a good vehicle where the readers, to transmit to the readers news about what is done in the different boards. And so we probably, either through the website of the Computer Society or through one of our publications, we could try to provide a broad and comprehensive knowledge to our members of the activities that we are putting. Okay, I'm done. Activities that we are putting.
Don't need to be quite that crisp. I know we need to turn over to Hausi at the moment. Your response to the question, how can the Computer Society better integrate integration, conferences, publications, and standards on technology topics?
So this is a very good question, and that's a question that has occupied me for the past year as VP of Conferences. If you turn, please, to my slide of question 1, there at the bottom right corner is, I think, what we call curated knowledge. And there, yeah, that one.
There we go.
That's the perfect one. And what I'm proposing is that we create a thing called containers where we can integrate for a particular topic like cybersecurity or adaptive systems or visual computing or blockchain. All the education, the conferences, the journals, the chapters, the local chapters have experience in one of these topics. We create portals where people can actually curate knowledge and provide expertise to package knowledge together in such a container. Right now it's very difficult for an end user to find everything in Computer Society on cybersecurity. But we need to package that better, and integrating the boards also helps in this regard. Thank you.
Thank you. And I realize in curating this, I made a slight mistake. You actually have 2 minutes for your answers, but as both speakers answered it well in 1 minute, we will call it fair and equal, I trust, and do our questions and then return to 2-minute answers for the next one. So, Cecilia, do you have a question for Hausi on this subject?
So how do you think, so it was very clear, the answer, and very good. Maybe some clarification. So how do you think this integration can be accomplished?
The idea is basically to recruit people from the technical committees and special technical communities who want to proliferate themselves and have the expertise to do that. I can also imagine PhD students who write a paper on a particular topic for their PhD to gather all this information when they do the systematic literature review and put that together and create a container like that. Just as two examples.
Okay, thank you. Do you have a question for Cecilia, Hausi?
Not really. Her answer was great.
Okay. Cecilia, do you wish to give her an answer to a question that Hausi did not ask?
No, I'm okay, thank you. I think you're both
thought you would be. Yes, good. Well, thank you both for your answers. And remember, for those of you listening out there on the web, you can add your question to the list by typing it on the chat section, and we will ask some of these that we received here. We're going to return to a question that was asked to the Elections Committee to present to you. And it's a question, what do you think can be done to increase the number of women joining the computer science disciplines? And I believe that we are starting with Hausi on this one. And
yes,
then Cecilia will have the second one.
Of course, this is a very important question for Computer Society, and we need to increase the number of women and minority participants in Computer Society and to groom them for leadership. However, diversity as such is not enough. We also have to push for inclusiveness, and that is particularly important for women, I believe. We need to create an inclusive environment, create an atmosphere in which people feel valued and respected and have access to the same opportunities. So this is more than just creating an equitable environment. Thank you.
Okay. You're done? Cecilia, how would you like to respond to that question?
I also believe that inclusiveness, as I also mentioned in my opening speech, is the key to our success. And definitely we need to give to beyond gender, and so in this case also to women the same opportunity for guarantee the same opportunity for professional development and career advancement. And as the Computer Society, I think we need to give good examples. So we need to try to be inclusive, no matter of the gender, in our, let's say, committees, in all the activities that we're following. And I think that we should start to foster also the, let's say, our field also in undergraduate education, and give this message to also undergraduate students and to students that it doesn't matter which is the gender, it doesn't matter which is the nationality, there are opportunities, equal opportunities for all of them. And we need to guarantee that this occurs at any level as Computer Society.
Okay. Thank you very much. Hausi, do you have a question you wish to ask of Cecilia on this issue?
Yeah, I certainly agree with Cecilia that we need to promote respect for and appreciation of differences in ethnicity, gender, age, national origin, physical ability, education, religion, sexual orientation, all these things. Diversity is absolutely critical. But what is critical that we are perceived as Computer Society, that we support that. And we could probably do a campaign in this regard that will help us as well. But I think for a president what is really critical is to recognize that all these people we work with bring diverse perspectives, work experience, lifestyles, and culture to the table. And as president, it's very critical that we respect that.
Okay, that's good. That was more of a response, so I will let Cecilia have a minute for a second response on this question.
Okay, so a second response. Okay, so I can add that under the current leadership that we are having, there are plans to promote our presence also in undergraduate education. And I think this is the good way to start also to promote the presence of women in computer science disciplines. And as I mentioned before, also I think that the collaboration with IEEE institutions and organizations will be important. There is IEEE Women in Engineering institutions, and so I think we need to foster our collaboration with them in order to promote the presence, in this specific case, the presence of women in our field. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we will go to our next question, which comes from our listening audience. And let me remind that listening audience that if you do have a question, type it in on the chat room and we will get it in to their candidates. This question comes from John R. Sopka, and he asks, what is your view on the appropriate balance between centralized and localized control of activities to deliver benefits to members and to attract new members? Again, the question is on the balance between centralized and localized control of activities. And in this case, Cecilia, you will be the first one to go.
Okay. So, well, this is a very good question. I think that again, trying to reflect the needs of our members, we should also, from this point of view, respond to their needs. So some activities, if we consider some activities, actually all of them, publications and conferences, for instance, and also education, we need to, as a society, to have, let's say, a common manner to manage all of them. So we have, on the one hand, huge diversity in technical topics and different kinds of publications, also transactions or magazines. And we need to have, let's say, common policy in order to give better, same opportunity to all publications. But at the same time, we need to reflect through the diverse publications the needs, the diverse technical interests of our members. And similarly, I think in all our activities, we need to foster a good balance among, let's say, a centralized control, in the sense, more than control, let's say, management of the activities, and diversified management to reflect the diverse needs. So this should be not in contrast, but I would like to see them as so both centralized and localized control of activities together with, let's say, distributed control of activities. Not in conflict, but we should act on both aspects. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Hausi, it is your turn to give an answer to this question. What is your view on the appropriate balance between centralized and localized control of activities to deliver benefits to members and attract new members?
Yes. So I'm certainly in favor of distributed control to a certain extent, and very strongly in favor in empowering people. And grassroots everywhere. So we have sections and we have chapters, and it's very important to support the chapters and sections out there. So right now here we have IEEE Victoria section watching this, and it's great to have these sections everywhere, and the sections work well together. They have expertise, they can support their community, and that's really critically important. And Computer Society could do more to support the local chapters and sections. That's certainly important. But also, we have to have the grassroots recognize the technical committees, the people, members in the technical committees, recognized as volunteers, and groom them to step up to leadership and provide the centralized control that is also critically important for activities to make the Computer Society really viable to a certain extent. And the Computer Society central offices, they have provide lots of values to the community, but we have to make sure that this two-way communication between the grassroots and the executive works really well. And I'm very passionate about that. I organized in February 2017 at the Board of Governors meeting a synergy meeting between the technical committee chairs and IEEE executives, and that worked really well, was acknowledged as a great success.
Very good. Thank you. And we now have time for a response. And Cecilia, you have a minute for that.
Okay. I agree with Hausi, what Hausi said. I, of course, also agree that we need to respect and to give the right visibility to our chapters who work under the umbrella of the IEEE sections. And this is a good example, actually, of let's say, this localized activities. They are very active, they are doing a lot, and I think this is a good example of how the centralized and instead localized activities can be managed. So under my board, which is MGA, we have over 200 chapters throughout the world, and we have been able also in this case, and I still am VP for this, so it is still my commitment to listen to their needs and to try to respond to their needs, developing service tools, in this case an online platform to support their activity that they can use. So
and we're at a minute.
I think it's in a good way. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Hausi, you have a minute to add additional reply.
So I fully support Cecilia's statement. What we need to do is to empower the grassroots and empower the local chapters to recruit people and to bring people to Computer Society. I think without it, it's not going to work. And it's very critical for the central executive, if you like, to strongly support that.
Okay.
These technical communities, special technical communities that are growing, and we also have to support those.
Very good, and thank you both. I think we are at our final question, and I think it is somewhat important at this point to have a question that really looks to the future. And the one that seems relevant to this is one that was given to the election committee. Given the rapid advancements in areas such as artificial intelligence, machine learning, autonomous systems, do you think universities are properly preparing our graduates for the future? And if not, what curriculum changes would you propose? And Cecilia answered our last question first, so this will be Hausi's opportunity to go first.
Well, it's easy to say that universities are not preparing our graduates properly, but I strongly disagree with that. By and large, our university is doing a great job in preparing our students as scientists and engineers to be able to solve problems, and they're doing a pretty darn good job. With respect to some of these new technologies you have there on your slide, well, AI is not exactly new technology, but I work in autonomous systems and machine learning and AI altogether. Ethics all of a sudden becomes a really important issue. And we all know the codes of ethics of engineers, and it's very important that we respect those and that we follow those and that we actually teach the students these ethics, these codes of ethics in our curriculum. That's the one thing I would strongly push, and it's not done everywhere. But to also make sure that our students recognize that they contribute to society and human well-being. That's typically one of the first things in a code of ethics, and that is absolutely critical that we convey professional responsibility to society. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Cecilia, would you care to address this question?
Yes. Well, I think that, our universities are trying to put efforts to prepare properly the students for the future. Of course, it depends on the university, but I'm from University of Bologna, and in my department we will start a new master course to prepare students specifically for technologies for the Internet of Things, just to give an idea. So I think the university are putting efforts to try to keep the students updated with technical issues of growing interest. But for sure, I think that the Computer Society can support universities in this. We have in the Computer Society e-learning courses that we should expand, and we should make them available to all our members. I was proposing lifelong learning programs, including, for instance, summer schools. So we have lots of activities that focusing more on all our members, also starting from potential members at the universities when they are students or already members. We could target some of our educational activities, and we have so many, to the needs of students of undergraduate courses, so that they can be ready when they go out of the university to enter strongly in the professional world, and we can really support the technical growth of our members.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is still the question period, and Hausi, you have a minute to reply if you wish.
Well, I agree with Cecilia's statement. Yeah, that's all I have.
Excellent. Cecilia, do you have a closing statement? Not yet. A response that you would like to make on this question?
I also agree with Hausi. So I think we are all in line that we should do. You all agree that we should reinforce more our presence, even in, let's say, for young members or young potential members, starting also from undergraduate and, of course, following throughout the university our students.
All right. Thank you very much for that. And we've now reached the time for closing statements. And as Hausi went first, Cecilia will start with the first closing statement, and she has 3 minutes to offer it.
Okay, thank you, David. So, as previously introduced in my opening speech, I have extensive experience in education, research, professional activity, also in collaboration with companies, combined with leadership experience in computer society governance, IEEE governance and activities, computer society membership and geographic activities, computer society conferences and technical activities, and IEEE publications. The mantra for my presidency is based on a member-centric and quality-oriented vision of our computer society. My primary focus is to better serve members wherever geographically located, whichever spoken language, beyond gender and nationality, to enable the technical growth and professional advancement of each and every member, and to move to higher pinnacles the technical distinction of our society in all activities and across the world. I'm sure that with your support and volunteer dedication, all together in an inclusive manner, we will be able to advance our computer society. You can find more information about me and my agenda at my election website at https://events.unibo.it. Cecilia Metra, 2018 IEEE Computer Society President-elect candidate. If you share my enthusiasm about the future through my agenda, and if you believe me suitable as the next president, please vote for me. I'm sure that together we will succeed. I thank you all very much for your precious time listening to me. Thanks.
And thank you very much. And Hausi, you have the final closing statement.
Yeah. The first two lines in this slide, these are the taglines for IEEE and IEEE Computer Society. I'm very passionate about and believe in these taglines the mission of IEEE and IEEE Computer Society. Computer Society provides leadership, foresight, influence, and direction in best practices, education, and leading research. We have to make sure that we don't forget this big mission when we talk about little details, and that's critical. Balancing the financial stability with its mission, this is a big challenge for us, and secondly, increasing membership at all levels, make sure that they don't decline. That is very important for the next decade of computer society. We have to continue to earn the trust of the members and the general public. CS must continue to provide extensive opportunities for career development, lifelong learning, and networking at meetings, and do that with high quality. My qualifications on my website, well, you have to click below there on the website. The website is not given here. It is on my slide. It's a Google shortcut, but you can find that easily. I have recruited over 60 now recommendations from colleagues in academia and the industry from out the world who can demonstrate my qualification for this position. I work well with people. I run meetings well. I have extensive experience in that, and I certainly bring respect, diverse perspective, and work experience, lifestyles, and culture from around the room in such meetings, and that usually helps a great deal. I'm fully committed to serve as CS members as 2018 President-elect and 2019 President, and I kindly ask for your vote in this election. Thank you very much.
And thank you very much, and thank both of our candidates very much. I want to remind two very qualified candidates for president. They are long-term members whose contributions to the society are substantial. And you see in the slide in front of you the instructions for voting that begins on Monday, August 7th and continues to Monday, September 25th. And I want to remind everyone out there that the town hall was recorded, and it will be emailed out to everyone in attendance, and it will also be posted on computer.org on the webinar series page and on the election webpage in the next couple of days. So please vote in that election one more time and encourage your colleagues to vote. The president is that's in part of the decision process and not just a handful of members. So finally, a big thanks to our two candidates for agreeing to be part of it, and we wish them both the very best in their careers and in their work in society. Thank you all very much. This is the end of our town hall.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Good job.